It is 9 at night, and you are standing in a supermarket aisle. There are about 40,000 items in this building. You eat around 30 of them, the same 30, more or less, every week for years. Nobody handed you that list. You did not sit down one afternoon and choose cows over horses, chickens over crows, or wheat over the 2,000 other edible plants. The list arrived before you did, which raises a question that is worth asking in a supermarket aisle at 9 at night. Who wrote this list, and why is it so short? The obvious answer is religion. Somebody wrote a rule, the rule stuck, and here we are. And there is something to that. Beef is dinner in one country, and a criminal offense in another. Pork is a staple on one side of a border, and unthinkable on the other. Except the rules are late. Every one of them was written down thousands of years, after people were already eating exactly this. Scripture did not pick the animal. It found a population already committed to one, and made the commitment official. So nobody decided. There was a short list, and the short list was not written by us. It was written by the animals and the plants themselves. Start with the animals, because they are the harshest filter in the story. Humans have lived alongside large mammals everywhere they have ever been. Of roughly 148 large land herbivores, 14 were ever domesticated. 13 of those 14 come from Eurasia. The failures were not failures of effort. Egyptians kept hyenas, gazelles, and antelope. None of it took. Taming and domestication are not the same thing. A tamed elephant is a wild animal with a job. A domesticated animal is a species that has handed you its breeding. To make that handover, an animal has to pass 6 tests at once. Eat cheaply, grow fast, breed in captivity, tolerate crowding, stay calm in a pen, and accept a boss. Fail one and you are out forever. Zebras eat grass, breed well, grow fast, and live in herds. And they are still not horses, because a zebra that gets its teeth into a person has a famous habit of not letting go. The cow is not on your plate because it tastes better than a zebra. It is there because it was the one large animal in the room that would agree to stand still. Plants sat the same exam, and the ones that passed did it by breaking. Wild wheat is built to get away from you. When the grain ripens, the stalk shatters and throws the seed to the ground. That is what a seed is for. But in any wild field, a few plants carry a broken copy of that gene. Their stalks do not shatter. They just stand there, holding the grain, waiting. In the wild, that plant is a dead end because it cannot plant itself. Add one human with a sickle, and the logic inverts. The plants that hold on are the ones that get carried home, and the ones that get carried home are the ones that get sown next spring. Nobody bred wheat. People simply harvested, and the field quietly filled up with a plant that could no longer survive without them. Almonds are the same story with a much shorter fuse. Wild almonds are loaded with amygdalin, which turns into cyanide in your gut. A handful is enough to kill an adult. In 2019, a team sequenced the almond genome and found the reason we eat them at all. 1-point mutation in one transcription factor. Leucine swapped for phenylalanine. Every almond you have ever eaten is descended from a single typo in the instructions for making poison. The egg is the strangest thing in your basket because it was never meant to be food. A chicken is a red jungle fowl. In the wild, it is a nervous forest bird in Southeast Asia that lays one small clutch a season. It was not hunted into the farmyard. It was invited. People cleared forest and grew rice and millet, and standing grain is a permanent bird feeder. The jungle fowl came out of the trees and simply stayed. The oldest confirmed chicken bones we have come from Non Wat, a rice farming site in central Thailand, dated between 1650 and 1250 BC. And they are not kitchen scraps. They are whole skeletons buried with people. For its first centuries, the chicken was not dinner. It was exotic. It moved west as a curiosity, a status object, and in some places something close to sacred. A wild jungle fowl lays perhaps a dozen eggs a year. A modern hen lays about 300. The bird was once too important to eat, and is now sold by the dozen next to the sandwiches. Once a shortlist exists, it stops being a choice and starts being an inheritance. Every taurine cow alive traces back to a founding group, estimated at around 80 wild aurochs females. In the Near East, about 10,500 years ago, 80 animals, every steak, every glass of milk, every leather shoe. That is the shape of the whole story. A very small accident at the start, locked in, then repeated for 400 generations, until it looks like a law of nature. The pig makes the point about rules. It was domesticated alongside the sheep and the goat, and eaten for thousands of years before anyone thought to forbid it. The rule came last. The rule always comes last. Milk is the clearest case of all. Europeans were processing dairy for thousands of years before most of them could digest it. The gene for adult lactose tolerance appears early, stays rare, and does not become common until around 1000 BC, roughly 4,000 years later. So for 4,000 years, A continent kept drinking something that visibly disagreed with it, on the grounds that it was there and it was free. It is tempting to read all of this as ancient wisdom. It is not. Nobody was optimizing. Nobody ran a trial. Most of what is on your plate is there because it was slow or docile, or grew near a house, or failed to be poisonous quite fast enough for anyone to notice. So, 9 at night, 40,000 items, and about 30 of them are yours. The animal that would stand still, the grain that forgot how to let go, the bird that came for the rice, the nut with the typo. Nobody chose any of it. It was simply what was left on the menu. And the menu was written long before anyone could read it. You put the eggs in the trolley, 12 of them from a nervous forest bird that was once too important to eat.